This is the new Nissan X-Trail, and it's a little bit like bumper cars at the fair. Not in the way that it's designed to crash into other cars. In fact, it's designed to do the exact opposite because it's got a load of safety tech on it. But it is like bumper cars in the way that it's got an electric motor which powers it, but the electricity for that electric motor actually comes from a petrol generator. Now, a bit more about that in this video, as well as what the design is like, what it's like on the inside, how practical the car is, and of course, what this new X-Trail is like to drive. I'm also going to launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour because I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching CarWow.
Buy, sell,
CarWow.
I don't know about you, but the design of this new X-Trail reminds me of the original X-Trail in the way that it's quite chunky, isn't it? Though there is a lot going on. Especially with this shiny bit of trim, which you get on higher spec cars. Lower spec cars just get a black bumper at the back. You've got your e-power badging there because this is the e-power model, which is quite confusing. I'll try and explain it to you later on. And then you've got big X-Trail badging down there. And moving to the side, alloy wheels start at 18 inches, go all the way to 20s. These are 19s. And you can get an optional two-tone roof from mid-spec cars upwards. The two high-spec models come with this silvery trim down here. Otherwise, it's just black on lesser models. Moving around the front, which I think is the best angle of this car, you have that upside-down light design where you've got your daytime running lights here on the top and then your main headlights down here. I think it's quite a smart looking car, and once again the top two trims have this shininess. It looks nice. I think it looks nicer than its key competitors such as the Peugeot 5008, the Hyundai Santa Fe and the Kia Sorento. Starting price £32,000, but you can save an average of £2,600 off one through CarWow. Now if you're thinking about buying a new car and you want to check out the latest offers, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below to go to CarWow. Alternatively, you can just go there at a later date by simply googling help me CarWow, and my team and I help you choose the right car for you and get it for a fair price from one of our trusted dealers. Here on the inside, the Nissan X-Trail is pretty nice. I like the fact that we've got this leatherette on the dash, nice leather seats, big infotainment screen, though I should point out that this is the top but one specification, the Tecna. If you have the entry-level car, it doesn't have a touchscreen. It has just a little radio and normal analog dials. If you step up to the next model, then you get a touchscreen, but it's only 8 inches. If you want these big screens, you have to go mid-level or up, and they are quite nice. Clear graphics, reasonably responsive, all well and good. And the digital dials, they're nice as well, easy to scroll through and get the information you require, all very clear and easy to operate. The rest of the design in terms of quality generally feels pretty good, and this is solid as a rock. The old console shaky test does not reveal any build quality issues here. One of the things I like about this car is that Nissan hasn't been tempted to put the climate control buttons into the touchscreen. Instead, look, you've got big physical buttons here which are easy to operate while you're driving. Speaking of driving, look at that, there's a lot of adjustment in the steering wheel. You don't get quite that much on many other cars, and yeah, there's plenty of adjustment in the seat as well. You're going to be fine finding an ideal driving position. Let's just see how close I can get to the wheel if I was a real short person rather than a fake short person. That's pretty close, isn't it? Some people actually drive like this, believe it or not. Sorry, this is supposed to be a sensible car review, because this is a sensible car. Overall, I do like the design. I don't think it's quite as cool though inside as a Peugeot 5008. Now let's check out the practicality. So we have a storage area here. I thought there'd be some USBs in there, but there's not. The USBs are here, and you've got two different kinds, the normal one and the USB-C. Then there's the old-fashioned 12-volt socket, and we've got a charging pad there on this particular version. Now sometimes the charging pads don't work with my mobile phone in its case, but this one does. It's got strong enough wirelessness. Door bins, big. I don't know why I'm illustrating them with this small bottle, seems a bit pointless. We need to get some better props. I blame the staff, nothing to do with me at all. You've got a sunglasses holder there, and it's lined with felt so you don't scratch your lenses. There's also the biggest sun visor ever fitted to a car in the history of the world. Look at the size of that. You could use it as a projection screen. It's that bloody big. This car has the panoramic glass roof, which you can actually open as well. Some of them you can't open. I don't know why. It's much better when you can open them. Opens a decent way as well. You just have to bear with me while this goes back.
Eventually.
And now we've completed that, let's check out the back seats. What the heck has Nissan done with the back seats on this car? It seems more cramped than a Micra. I'm such a joker, aren't I? Of course, you can recline the seats in this car and slide them back. Then you can see knee room's really good, headroom's decent as well. There's lots of foot space, and you can slide your feet underneath the chair in front a little bit as well if you need to carry 3 in the back at once. This middle seat is quite flat, so it's comfy, and there's not too much of a hump in the floor, so there's plenty of room for everyone's feet. Slight issue though is that this car isn't quite as wide as you think, so people in the outer seats feel a little bit squished up against the door, and if they're tall they might be having their head touching the roof because it curves in slightly. What I can't complain about though is how easy it is to fit a child seat. There's plenty of room back here. The ISOFIX anchor points are really easy to access, so simple and easy to fit even a bulky rear facing seat. Some of the things I want to show you here are, look, pull this down, come on. You have an armresty but more tabley thing there because you've got cup holders and a place where you can put your mobile phone in there as well. Up, come back. You've got big door bins, fit much bigger bottles than that. You've got decent pockets on the seat backs, 2 USBs down here, USB-C and USB, so obviously that's for the grandmother's phone and that's for the kids' phone. This car has climate control in the rear and heated seats as well, which is nice. Now, one of the great things about the Nissan X-Trail is that for £1,000 more, you can get 7 seats. I'm going to show you the rearmost row if you fit that option, which is probably what you should do if you're buying this car. So, to get into the back, I just have to pull, because then you can slide the seat forward. The gap is quite tricky to get through though. Ugh. Now this is going to be interesting. So if you have these seats in their comfy position, there's going to be no leg room. So I'm going to try and get this into a position that I am comfortable in the back with enough knee room. So I've just about got enough knee room here. Let's now find out what it'd be like for me if I was in the front. This is going to look very awkward. I don't know how to escape. This is like Lauren Hardy does car reviews. It's like I'm back to square one from the beginning of this section. Yeah, okay, right, I'm gonna get back into the back. These rear seats are mainly just for children, so adults can't really fit back here in any degree of comfort. Also, headroom is really cramped. These are occasional seats for kids. It's definitely more spacious in the very back of a Kia Sorento. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below. What a palaver. Let's check out the boot. In 7-seat mode, you only have 177 litres to play with, which is this much space. You can just about fit a carry-on size piece of luggage. Thankfully, there's no load lip, so it's easy to slide things in and out. And if you've not got 7 people in the car, you can have this down to make the boot bigger. Then it increases in capacity to 485 litres for the 7-seat version. If you have the 5-seater version, then the boot capacity is actually 575 litres. However, if you need more room, Skoda Kodiaq is bigger. Both in 7-seat mode and 5-seat mode, it's about a third bigger again. If you want to see my full in-depth video review of the Skoda Kodiaq, click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below. Now I can fold down the middle row of seats as well, just lean in, which isn't the easiest thing to do because this bumper protrudes quite a way, so I'm gonna have to climb in. Oh, bollocks. That's not the way to do it, is it? I need to go round. I forgot how the seats operate, so yeah, I have to push that back like this, start from scratch. So this is a bit of a faff, isn't it? Oh, where is it? Where's the blooming thing? Bear with me. There it is. Right, and then you have quite a flat load space. Which is a good thing, although I didn't enjoy having to do it that way. Now, there is one thing that is slightly a bit annoying. So, with a 7-seater version, there's nowhere to store the load cover underneath the floor. Because underneath there, you see the space is taken up with tyre repair stuff and this panel, which I don't really know what it does. Anyway, that brings us to 5 annoying things about the Nissan X-Trail. The cup holders are freaking massive, so things really rattle around in there. Normally on cars when you have big cup holders, they have like extra little grippers on the inside so they can actually hold smaller bottles such as this as well as large cups, whereas these, they're just erring on the side of largeness. The obvious place for the boot release catch would be here, but no, they put it down there, which is a bit more of a reach, just seems awkward. Speaking of which, what I was grabbing then was the reversing camera, so I've got to clean that off. And speaking of cleaning it off, in the past Nissan used to have special little washers over its reversing cameras. You get those on the Duke, so you don't have to get out and clean the lens if you've been driving in dirty conditions like I have today. But with this car, you have to clean it yourself. While you get Apple CarPlay that's wireless, if you've got an Android phone, you're always going to require a wire. Why? For some odd reason, you cannot get the two-wheel drive version of the X-Trail e-Power with 7 seats. Only the all-wheel drive version gets the 7 seats. The glove box on right-hand drive versions of the X-Trail are slightly smaller than left-hand drive versions. Reason being that Nissan didn't bother to move the fuse box across with the steering wheel for the right-hand drive UK cars. Bit of a shame that, as a result, look, that's smaller than it should be. That's what I said to my girlfriend.
Thankfully, this car has plenty of cool features to help make up for all this. Here's 5.
The heads-up display you can get with this car is brilliant. It shows a lot of information such as directions and stuff like that. However, when it's stationary, you only see speed. The thing I really like about it is that with some heads-up display, the position is a bit too high up, so it's right in your line of sight. With this, it's low down, so you still get a good view of the road ahead without any of the information obscuring your view. The rear doors open to 85 degrees. It's almost a right angle. That makes it so easy to get in and out and to mess around with fitting a baby seat and deal with your children, all that kind of thing that you do if you own this kind of car. The driving modes have a special snow mode for if it's really slippery, but also a dedicated off-road mode for if you're driving on loose surfaces. There's even hill descent control for steadying your descent down off-road slopes. The car has inbuilt Amazon Alexa, so that allows you to do things such as ask it to play music, get directions, place calls, all that kind of thing, which you can actually do with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But being Amazon Alexa, you can also connect to your home and do things like turn on your lights or your heating if you have it all set up that way on your drive home. Brilliant. There are sun blinds built into the rear doors, which is handy if you need to cast some shade. There's 3 different power options for the Nissan X-Trail. So the entry-level car has a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol, and it puts out 163 horsepower, drives the front wheels only. Then you can get a hybrid version, which is a bit of an interesting hybrid because you have the same petrol motor, but that doesn't actually drive the front wheels anymore. Instead, it provides electricity to charge a battery, which then powers an electric motor. Confusing. Anyway, that puts out 204 horsepower. Or you can have a similar kind of setup, but with an extra motor in the back as well, so you get 4-wheel drive, and combined that car produces 213 horsepower. Now there's 5 different trim levels you can choose from, so with that in mind, what is my favourite combination of power system and trim level for the Nissan X-Trail? Well, I'm going to configure it using the carwow configurator right now, and if you want to see what that car is and the saving through carwow, click on the pop-out button up there, follow the link in the description below. Right, let's see what the Nissan X-Trail is like to drive. What I'm going to do is put it into EV mode so I don't hear any engine noise. So you can hear it a little bit just chugging away there, charging the battery. Shut up! Wait a minute, why? Yeah, there we go, it's gone off now. And now I can just coast around in electric tranquility apart from the building noise that is just ricocheting around the village here. So this is a good opportunity to test the car suspension over bumps, and over single bumps like this, it's actually all right, seems soft enough. However, it's not perfect. Sometimes when you're going a little bit quicker and you're going over like imperfections of the road where it's broken surfaces, it can get a little bit out of shape, like it can't deal with too many bumps at once. It's almost like a newly qualified teacher trying to deal with a classroom full of screaming kids. They can deal with one on their own, but when there's a whole classroom full, they get a bit flustered until they're used to it. Anyhow, I'm going to get flustered now trying to do a U-turn. Turning circle is just a little over 11 metres, which is about normal for this size of car, but either I cock that bit up or this turning circle just isn't quite good enough, but I'm gonna have to do a 3-pointer. Thankfully, I've got brilliant surround view camera and visibility is pretty good in this car. Forward visibility I like a lot. Yeah, there are these big windscreen pillars, but they're not too bad actually. You don't get that much of a blind spot. The out the back window is okay, and the door mirrors are nice and large as well. The steering's light, so it's easy to maneuver. So in town, this is actually a pretty good car. It's very relaxing to drive. Just want to check one thing though, and that's the brakes, because sometimes with hybrids they can be a bit grabby. Obviously, as I brake, the first part of my braking is recharging the battery rather than using the normal friction brakes. They're actually okay. I can actually put it into a slightly more aggressive regen mode, so when I lift off the accelerator now, it should slow more aggressively. There we go, yeah, it's better. That's good in town. Or I can go into E-pedal where it's even more aggressive. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Why don't they just let you bring the car to complete stop by lifting off the accelerator like you get in Teslas and like you used to get in older Nissans? It's creeping. No one likes a creep. Now getting out onto a faster road, I'm going to see how quickly I can go before the petrol motor kicks in. If I floor it, it will kick in because it will need to provide some extra power to drive the motors. But look, I'm cruising at 60, pure electric mode. But now I'm going to floor it and you'll see that the petrol motor suddenly kicks in. There we go, EV mode unavailable. But I'm going to engage it again. No, get back into EV mode. It's not happy now. I just dabbed the throttle that time. Give me EV mode. Let's creep up to speed. No, I've enraged it. To be fair, when that petrol motor does kick in, it's not that loud. I don't think it's quite as quiet as the system in the Honda HR-V, for instance, but it's not really bad. And even when I'm accelerating up a hill, it's no worse than a normal petrol engine car accelerating up a hill. Quite a quiet car. Speaking of acceleration, let's see what it's like getting up to speed when you're joining the motorway. So I'm going to go from 40 miles an hour to 70. Ready? Flooring it. Because you've got electric motors, the pickup is pretty quick actually. And once again, didn't sound too noisy, that petrol motor, did it, when it kicked in? And when you're cruising on the motorway, noise levels are about average. It's not the quietest, there is a bit of road noise. I can't really tell from wind noise right now because it's raining and that's all I can hear, but definitely some noise coming from the tyres. Another thing I'm noticing is that at speed, this car doesn't feel quite as planted or as settled as a Hyundai Santa Fe. While I'm at it, let's just check out the economy, because obviously hybrids, you have them to be efficient. Well, not necessarily with this car, because Nissan claims that the economy should be 44 miles per gallon, which is okay, but it's not amazing. It's not the kind of thing you'd expect from a clever hybrid. The reality is even worse. I've only averaged 34 miles to the gallon. What's the point? Do you know what? This isn't a hybrid I'd buy for the fact that it's going to give you improved economy, but I would consider buying it because it's actually quite a relaxing car to drive, and I like the power system, the way that you are basically being driven by electric motors, which is smooth, which is responsive, which is quiet most of the time, and you've essentially just got the petrol motor to provide the energy for those motors. Seems like a weird setup, but it works. Finally then, time to try the Nissan X-Trail on a twisty country road. I have a sports mode and I'm going to engage it. It says sport, I'm feeling no difference. So how does this car go around bends? Well, it goes around bends okay. The steering puts the car where you want it to go. Well, you'd hope so really, wouldn't you? But believe me, some cars, you constantly correct them. This one's fine. It doesn't really lean that much in the bends considering it's a tallish, heavy-ish car, but it doesn't have a sense of fun to it. There's no fun. I mean, you're not expecting it really with this kind of car. It just goes down the road well enough. But if you get too carried away, it does soon start to run wide, which isn't ideal if there's a car coming the other way. So you're best just backing off and just ignoring that sports mode because it's nonsense. Actually, I noticed the difference there. The throttle feels a little bit less responsive in normal, but you know, it's splitting hairs. This isn't the kind of car you want to go out for a drive in or rag it about or anything like that. It just needs to be able to do its job of ferrying you and your passengers around safely and securely, and it'll do that absolutely fine. There, you see, look, that was a turning circle. I actually did a better job of it. I made it look bad when I was driving in town. That time, it was okay. It's all to do with the driver and the setup. One last test to do though. This all-wheel drive version of the X-Trail e-Power should be able to do 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. I'm not convinced though. I've got my specialist timing gear up here to see what the reality is. Let's find out, here we go. What we're going to do, actually, it's not so bad. I'm talking out my arse. 6.39. When I floored it there, it really did feel just stronger, and the traction off the line was very good. If you get the front wheel drive version, you're not going to get that traction. As a result, its 0 to 60 time is claimed to be 8 seconds, but maybe that'll go quicker as well. Although maybe not today in this weather. 4-wheel drive though, wow. It's actually alright, the performance of this. It's better at performance than it is economy. So then, what's my final verdict on the Nissan X-Trail? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should consider the X-Trail. It's pretty nice to drive and it's reasonably practical. It's just that with the hybrid version, it's not as economical as you'd hope, which is the main reason for buying a hybrid in the first place. Anyway, do you agree with my verdict? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on. That way you won't miss a single upload. You can quite easily subscribe now just by hitting the carwow logo there. Yeah. If you want to watch some of the videos, just click on those windows.